Hey everyone, welcome back to Google Workspace Recap, your number one source for everything Workspace by the Tab Geeks Network. My name is Jesse Nolan, my co-host is Steve Larson, and we're here to help you keep up. For those of you who think our show is too long, you're not going to like tonight's episode. It's another big one, but don't stop listening yet. I'm happy to announce that I'm working to create shorts on YouTube for every single feature release that we discuss on the show. For those of you who are not, it is a shitload of work, and it's going to be awesome because then it'll just be just the facts and just the facts, Max, and none of the chatter and filler and things that make us personable and awesome. If all you have time for is just give me the damn updates, that's what you're going to get. Shorts, if you're not familiar with those folks, are special. They're like TikToks. If you're not familiar with those, they're basically video that fits on your phone. What rock are you living under if you don't know what those are? Yeah, whatever. But if you're not familiar with them, they're 60 seconds or less, and they will be just the very pertinent details of the update. So if you haven't seen the first few I've done, go and check them out. Let us know what you think. Steve, what did you think of them?
Well, I've only watched one, but the last one you sent me, which has the two of us, and then the update animation up top, which I thought was pretty good. Definitely.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I want to try and start doing that into the actual video feed as well, so that you have normally it's the two of us talking heads side by side. I want to pivot us so that we both shrink down and go on the left side, and then have on the right side of the video blow up the
talking
updates.
Heads, we should get bobbleheads of us, like with our Workspace recap, like shirts.
Yep, bubble.
Yeah,
Deadpool
those guys.
stuck. Here we go.
Yeah,
boing, boing. Exactly.
Boing. We should get those made of us.
It doesn't work as well as Deadpool. Yeah, for sure. Oh, here we go. This one's better. Anakin Skywalker.
There you go.
Baby Yoda. Boing, boing. All right, so if Funko wants to make bobbleheads of us, I'll be happy to license our likeness. Get in touch, Funko.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I think it'll add a much better element to the show for those of you who like to kick back, put your feet up, and watch what's going on, or watch all of our updates, and kind of just digest it like an actual show. Now you'll actually be able to see what the hell we're talking about, instead of having to afterwards go into the show notes and be like, oh, that's what that looks like. So should be good. But we have about 5,000 updates tonight, so I'm going to shut up and let Steve go through them.
Yeah, it's getting close to that many. We have four silent releases that came in the end of week recap. We have 12 updates that came out during the week. We have an update to GCDS, the first one in quite a long time, and then of course quite a few things have been happening in the news. So lots to cover this episode, and we'll take you through those headlines right now, so you know what you've got in store for yourself here in this one. So first one on the silent releases is that you can now initiate dialogue workflows from the chat app using message cards. You can add shared drives to specific organizational units. That feature is now generally available. You can see when colleagues are out of office on Android. There are some more ways to work with display and organize your content across Google Workspace on Android. And then getting into those published releases that we had this week, we have the first one being the Workspace admins are now notified when label editing is restricted by set rules. You can encourage working location coverage across organizations. There's now enhanced menus in Google Slides and Drawings, which improves findability of key features. There is there's the ability now to preview or download client-side encrypted files with Google Drive on Android and iOS. Next, these are split table cells in Google Docs to help better organize information. Number 6 here, we have that updates to storage management tools in the admin console. That is, for example, that's coming to fruition here for education domains at the end of this year. So there's a lot of stuff happening with those orgs. I know right now, trying to get the data down to a minimum. Number 7, you hold separate conversations in Google Chat Spaces with inline threading, a feature I do not like, but I like the way it's been. Conversation summaries in Google Chat help you stay on top of messages and spaces. That's a decent feature though. I like that one with chat. You now present slides directly in Google Meet. You can easily find Workspace Marketplace apps with enhanced search filters. There's some improvements of the Google Chat and Gmail search experience on web and mobile. And then last but not least, to round things out of the published releases, you have that Google Workspace client-side encryption beta is expanded to include Google Calendar. And then, as I mentioned, there is an update to GCDS. Release on this one is now version 5, up from version 4, and a few fixes, a few enhancements here on there. If you are leveraging GCDS and syncing your AD environment over to Workspace or Google Cloud, then keep an eye out for this update. The one, I'm trying to think if there's one important thing here. I'm trying to see if there's anything really important. Just a few little minor fixes by the looks of things here. So some troubleshooting fixes. If it doesn't suspend a user to their super admin privileges as it entering the logs. Notification now to allow you to add a prefix in the email subject line for multi-sync configurations. Some issues were fixed where the updating of the organization unit fails. And there's also a fix where there's an issue where update to a user's profile fails due to a 412 user creation is not complete error. GCDS now retries on that error. So
I hate that one. That's the worst when that happens.
That was definitely a thorny.
Do you actually know what the 412 error is? I do not.
No, I don't know. It's like the next level up after the 312. I don't know. Isn't that's a beer, I think, right?
312 could be.
Yeah, 312.
411.
It is. Now 312 is also an area code here in Chicago, but it's also a beer.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then we do have quite a few things happening in other news. We'll talk about the Google Champion Innovators Program, which Jesse got invited to, and I didn't.
Woohoo!
Just a little bit salty on that one. You can, you can earn the professional Google Workspace Administrator certification. There's an exam guide deep dive and Q&A. Is that something new, or is that something that's come out?
It's an event.
Oh, it's an event. Okay.
Yep.
I was like, didn't we talk about this before?
Yeah, we have. It's an event with
but this is
the Google Cloud community.
Got it. Yeah, coming up on the 15th of November.
Mm-hmm.
You can become certified in Chrome OS
Which
administrator.
Steve just did.
I did. I have that one.
One of the first 10, I think.
30.
First 30. Okay.
It was 30.
Not bad.
Yeah, but
Not bad.
in the first round, took the beta exam.
You were slow on the uptake this time.
Yeah, it just depends on when you take it and register. I tried to take it as early as I could in the series, but I think I heard about it a little bit later. Registered late. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
But then we also have some news about a thread shutting down, and
Sort of.
apparently I got a whole bunch of emails on these accounts that I didn't think I had actually created an account, but I started getting pinged on all my accounts about this. And two more things in the news. The much needed Gmail redesign greatly simplifies settings on iOS. And that is an article there from 9 to 5. And then an article here from Engadget about Google shifting its focus to hardware and assistance expense. I don't know if it actually is shifting its focus to hardware, but
No?
I think no, because there's no more Pixelbook, right? It's just, I don't know. I don't think that's an accurate headline.
Consumer hardware.
I don't know. Still, Pixelbook was consumer.
It was axed. True. That team was eliminated. True. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, all right. Well, let's jump into that first one and then see how long I can last on these updates here.
From the top, rock and roll.
Yeah. what, 16?
Let's see how long it takes you to get through these before you just fall over and pass out.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I know. I'm going to be going into midnight here.
Yeah, probably. I can pop in on some of these.
Oh, thanks. That's
Sure.
kind of you as a co-host here.
Well, it breaks our normal,
It does a little bit, but we'll be right. So
when we started this,
one,
by the way, if you remember, it was like 3 of each. It was like pretty much broken down even, and then all of a sudden you have some weeks where they release everything at once. So I'll make up for it the next couple of weeks.
All right. So first one is that you can now initiate dialogue workflows from the chat app using message cards. So this is for developers. Previously, this was only available through some slash commands, and now you can trigger these through the dialogue by using buttons on the in-stream message card. So just an enhancement there for developers developing apps and interactions. Next, the ability to add shared drives to specific organizational units is now generally available, and this is a pretty important one. I think we talked about this update earlier this year about how the shared drives can be now assigned to an OU, which then of course allows you to assign certain permissions and settings to them from the admin console there, so that you're not looking at a top-down approach on the whole entire org across all your shared drives. So this can definitely help the way that you're managing these and able to configure these a little bit better. That is, of course, available to those orgs that have access to shared drives. So that'll be Workspace Essentials, Business Standard Plus, Enterprise Standard, Enterprise Plus, Education Fundamentals, Education Standard, Education Plus, and the Teaching and Learning Upgrade, as well as nonprofit customers. Next is that you can see when colleagues are out of office on Android. So when you're looking, viewing a person's information card on Voice, Calendar, Gmail, or Chat on Android, you can now start to see whether or not they have an out-of-office status via an out-of-office banner. And then that will also let you know when that person is expected to return. So some useful information there to get some visibility into where someone might be if they haven't responded to. They might be out of office at the moment. And then this one kind of comes in a couple little parts here, but really just one announcement or one headline here is that there's some more ways to work and display and organize your content in Workspace on Android. First one is that link previews in Google Sheets. So on Android, the experience is being added to be able to link previews to Sheets. So it's currently available on the web, but now you get some additional context from linked content without bouncing between apps and screenshots. And that one is on a gradual rollout up to 15 days for feature visibility starting on the 24th of October. And then next, as part of that, we have that Google Sheets drag and drop improvements are coming out. There's some enhancements to that drag and drop support for Sheets, the Sheets Android app, by adding the ability to drag, copy, and share charts and in-cell images.
These are both part of the larger screen Android improvements, experience improvements.
Right.
As well, right? Yeah.
It is
Making
indeed.
those tablets more like Chromebooks.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, speaking of, the hardware and tablets, right? Google's going to be coming out with that new tablet next year. So
they are. We also forgot to mention this lovely piece of equipment.
Oh, yes.
I am holding in my hands, for those on the podcast side, the beautiful, illustrious, incredible Google HP Dragonfly Google Chromebook. It is
Is it worth it? It's
so worth it. Oh, it's so worth it. This is how you do a Chromebook, people. This is how you do it. This is fantastic. Touchpad doesn't. It's not a physical. It's capacitive. It's what's the word I'm looking for?
Is it good?
Oh, it's fantastic. So the touchpad is the one thing that I was like, on the previous generation. And haptic, that's what I was looking for. Thank you. It's a haptic touchpad. So it doesn't move, it doesn't click, it doesn't anything, but it feels like it does, just like the new MacBook Pros. The keyboard, I don't know how they did it. They improved it. It was perfect before, and now it's even better. So definitely a big fan of this thing. I just got it like 2 hours ago. I do have the i3 8 gig version, so it is the most affordable version, which is about $1,000. I can go into more detail later, but I will be adding it to my Chromebook. Yeah, not bad, right? It's not the $700 Asus 714, which I have behind me somewhere. 713.
Yeah, but I mean, those Dragonflies though went up to like 2,500, 3,000 in some cases, some configurations, right? Crazy.
Yeah, they're nuts. But those are for like the crazy 2000 nit display and
is that there's a
i7
better display on it?
Yeah, significally better display. It's got an i7 processor, 16 gig of RAM, I think, on that model. It also has the
RAM
the
is all
Intel
you
V
need.
Pro secure processor. Well, that's the weird thing.
16 gig.
As I've been going through all of the available decent options for sub $1,000 Chromebooks, which is my Chromebook Olympics video that I'm working on, they pretty much all have 8 gig, and I'm like, will you stop? That's not really enough for a $700 Chromebook. 16. Start with 16. Like, okay, fine. It's a $400 Chromebook. Go for it. Yeah. 8 gig of RAM, more than sufficient, especially with an i3 processor, absolutely. But an i3 will go much further with 16 gig of RAM. Now, that being said, my reigning champion favorite, the previous generation, the predecessor to the Dragonfly, and I'm totally derailing our topics here. The predecessor to the Dragonfly was the HP. The consumer version was the X360, HP 14 X360, and I'm trying to remember the enterprise one is like the C1040, something like that.
No,
1030. No,
is that what it is?
I forget. The silver one.
Yeah,
13.5 inch, and I used it. I loved it for a long time, and still do. And even as I went through all the rest of the devices that were out there, that really still felt like the most premium. But even that has 8 gig of RAM, and I'm just like, I guess I just don't notice it when I'm really using it actively. But when I'm looking at the specs, it's basically maxed out on 8 gig. So I really feel that we are pushing up against the edge of the limits. Just like we used to have 16 gig hard drives, and then they were like, all right, fine, we'll give you 64. Yeah. And then they were like, all right, fine, we'll give you 128. I think 8 is pushing it. Anyway, back to the updates. I get excited about shiny new hardware. What can I say?
Yeah. So definitely worth the upgrade from the X360 then, huh?
Absolutely. If you got if you have $1,000 that you are looking to get rid of and you want a new Chromebook, definitely go for this one.
If you're looking to get rid of $1,000, there you go.
Yeah. And you happen to be looking for a new Chromebook, then yes, this is the one to go with 100%.
Yep. All right. Let's see. We were getting into the
official
first
announcement
updates
number 1
here. Yes. Workspace admins being notified when label editing is restricted by set rules. So this is an addition feature to a recent one that came out, which allowed admins to programmatically manage and apply drive labels using new API functionality. There's now a new label manager UI feature showing which rules a label is used within. So I'm just kind of getting through the details here, looking at this. So this is talks about specifically a message identifying and linking to a label to the exact rules will now appear in the label manager to ensure admins understand why label modification is disabled. So label locking prevents admins from inadvertently renaming, deleting, or disabling a label, which could result in policy breakage.
See, this is where it's going to be really helpful to have the screenshot, the GIF, up on the screen in our show.
It will indeed. Yes.
So I will endeavor to do that tomorrow morning when I'm editing, folks. Hopefully, by the time you're listening, I will have accomplished that, because if I didn't, then I put it out and something went very wrong. Go on.
Yep. So rollout for this one, rapid release and scheduled release domains. We'll start to see this on a gradual rollout up to 15 days for visibility starting on the 17th of October, and available to those orgs with access to drive labels. So those Workspace Essentials, Business Standard, Business Plus, Enterprise Essentials, Enterprise Standard, Enterprise Plus, Education Plus, and Education Standard customers, and not available to all the others, nonprofits, frontline, personal accounts, of course. There you go. Next is a new feature to allow you to encourage working location coverage across organizations. So admins will have a new tool that aims to drive working location usage across their org. This setting will add a customization banner to users' calendar, either encouraging or requiring them to set up their working location. So by doing this and increasing the usage of it, admins and colleagues will have better context for location planning, meeting room management, preparing meetings for virtual and in-room attendees, and more. And I think this is a pretty useful one. It's especially helpful in my org where we have a pretty standard, 3 days in the office, 2 days at home type of approach. And you're always kind of wondering, when is that person? Are they going to be around today? Are they in the office? Are they working from home? Where are they?
Modern day problems.
Yeah. I have mine defaulted to my typical. The one thing I did notice that isn't as nice though now with some of the new location features that they came out with. So when it first came out, at the top of my calendar, I could just quickly select, home or the working location. And now I actually have to go in and almost edit. It's almost like editing a calendar event to change it. So it's significantly more cumbersome to change it when I need to on a per day basis.
That's
and that was, I think that was when they came out with the ability to add different or multiple working locations in there.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just your office or home. And now when I click on that event, I have to actually go in and click edit. I have to click the home and then I have to edit it. It's a little cumbersome, actually.
Interesting. Bring it up with the team. Maybe they'll rework it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just how they're able to handle more of those events or more of those locations, between home and office. And just kind of, I guess, how it is. So, yeah.
Interesting.
That's how it is. I'm just looking at it to make sure it's happening on all my domains. So yeah, it's happening on the Workspace Recap one here, edit working location, and then you're able to go in and change your location or add a new one, and you get like almost another little event dialog box in there instead of just a little drop down from the locations at the top, which is what I had before. So,
right.
Yeah. If you have your days different, that's kind of when it pops up where you have to edit it twice. Like right now, I've set home as my location for every day, and I get to pick change, and then I can change it really quickly. But if I were to choose like home, office, or any kind of differences there, that's when I had to actually go in and click edit on there. So I don't know. It's just not as easy to change it in all cases as it was before. But that's just a little quirk. Let's see. So, I guess talking about why it's important. I think we've kind of talked about that. And if you're an admin and you want to apply this, so make sure that you have the working location feature set to on. The banner feature will be off by default, and in the admin console you can enable that going into the calendar app settings and then setting the working location banner as on. And for end users, you'll start to see that if your admin started to push that banner to your calendar. Rollout for this one, for rapid release domains, it's going to be on a gradual rollout up to 15 days for visibility starting on the 17th of October. And then for scheduled release domains, Also a gradual rollout up to 15 days for visibility, starting on Halloween, the 31st of October. And available to select workspace environments, those on Business Plus, Enterprise Standard, Enterprise Plus, Education Fundamentals, Education Plus, Education Standard, Teaching and Learning Upgrade, as well as the G Suite Business, as well as legacy G Suite Business customers. And it says it's not available for nonprofits, which is interesting because like you get that functionality where you can set the working location, but I guess you just can't push the banner out in this case to them.
Interesting.
Yeah. It is a bit interesting because I was going to annoy everyone with this feature if I could. So, yeah. Try to encourage some more use of it. All right, next, some enhanced menus in Google Slides and Drawings improves findability of key features. So the menus in Google Slides and Drawings are going to be updated. There's some shortened menus for better navigation, reorg for more intuitive feature location, prominent icons for faster recognition. And so your users will start to notice these changes here. And really nothing that you can do about it. It's just on by default. It cannot be disabled. Rollout for this one is rapid release domains. We'll start to see this on our gradual rollout starting the 17th of October, up to 15 days for visibility there. Rapid release domains will also get a gradual rollout up to 15 days for visibility, also starting on Halloween. And availability for that one, this one is available to everybody. Everybody's getting that one. All right, next, the ability to preview or download client-side encrypted files with Google Drive on Android and iOS. So those specific organizations using client-side encryption configured in their org, you'll be able to start to see these previews. You can preview or download client-side encrypted files. And it's only for supported file types, which include Office and PDF files. Google Docs, Sheets, Slides are not yet supported. So just for the Office and PDF files at the moment.
It's a fast GIF going through here. You don't give me time to read the dialog box.
It's a quick one. Yeah, could maybe slow it down a bit for us.
If I remember, I'll do that in post.
Yeah, try. So this would require some admins to update their client-side encrypted configuration by adding a new Drive, Android, and iOS client ID to identity provider settings. So if you need to roll this out, you'll have to make those adjustments to the config there. Rollout for this one will be for gradual release, for rapid release and scheduled release domains on a gradual rollout up to 15 days for visibility starting the 17th of October. And availability here for admins will be available to Workspace Enterprise Plus, Education Standard, or Education Plus customers for those admins there. And then, of course, and then for end users, so you can preview or download client-side encrypted files within Drive or Android, and iOS, and that's available to all Workspace customers as well as legacy G Suite Basic and Business customers. So, from an end user perspective, previews are available to you if you happen to be a recipient of those files, and then from an admin perspective, you can configure that only in those select SKUs. Next is the ability to split table cells in Google Docs to better organize information. So now you in Google Docs, you can split the table cells to the desired number of rows and columns in a doc when you're creating something like subheadings or some cells under a heading, and split that into 2 columns, for example. So a little bit more flexibility in terms of how you can split those and lay them out. Pretty straightforward. Head over to the doc, right click on it and the table and click split, and then it splits it a bit better there. And define the number of columns or rows to split. Rollout for this one is going to be hitting the rapid release domains starting the 17th of October on a gradual rollout up to 15 days for visibility. And scheduled release domains, we'll see this on Halloween. Halloween is going to be a big day for some updates here. Starting to roll out on that day. Also a gradual rollout up to 15 days for visibility. And everyone is getting that one.
Also happens to be a Monday, Halloween, so hopefully I don't get my doorbell going off too often during our recording, as we actually live in an area where people come from all around and come to our side of town to go trick-or-treating, and I'm on a corner.
Turn your doorbell off?
I can turn my doorbell off, I can turn my outside lights off, I can turn on the sprinklers, and I can do it all from my phone because smart house.
There you go.
Just say, okay, Mr. G, special device there. Yeah.
There you go. Might want to do that.
I might want to, at least during the recording time.
Yeah. Hopefully all the kids are... Well, actually, no, that's going to be a prime time for you, right? 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Yep, that's prime time. Yeah. Usually what I'll do is I'll put a sign on the door, and I say usually, it's been true every time. I put a sign on the door with a bowl outside, and I say, shh, baby's sleeping. I say, you can take one. All right, take two. And I put a Costco bag of candy out there, and it's gone in 10 minutes, and that's it, Well, it's actually very entertaining watching on my video doorbell. You see people come up and they read the sign. They tell their siblings, oh, shh, there's a baby sleeping. And, oh, it says only take one. Oh, you can take two. And so a lot of people follow it, my faith in humanity.
Yeah.
It gets tested every year. And for the most part, it's restored. And then there's always that one kid who goes, woo, bowl, and just dumps it all into his bag. So, then I go out and refill it once or twice, and then that's it. So for anybody who lives near me who is interested, you can get a whole bowl of candy if you want. But yeah, hopefully we won't get interrupted too much next week.
Nice. All right.
I'll just barricade myself in the studio here. I'll be fine. Although actually, my garage door, I'm in my garage, so my garage door is all the way over there, so I'm going to have to stay really close to the microphone so that it only picks up my voice and turn on all the noise canceling and whatnot, because it'll probably be pretty loud 20 feet that way. So... All right. Well, bless you. For those who can't see, Steve sneezed on the other side.
That's right.
All right.
Everyone know.
You're welcome. Right. Well, it didn't make sense to people who aren't looking why I said bless you. So I had to do them the service.
It would be kind of obvious. No. Yeah.
Whatever,
Steve
man.
was combing his hair and he said bless you. All right.
For sure.
Updates to the storage management tools in the admin console. So there's some new features here to further enhance that experience from the previous April 2022 features. There's going to be a new storage admin role. And there's going to be the ability to apply storage limits to shared drives, which is something coming soon. And then there'll be a new column called Shared Drive ID in the Manage Shared Drives page. And that I think is pretty useful because you can have a lot of shared drives with the same name and you have no idea which one you're clicking into if you need to click into it and manage it. So very helpful with that.
And they now charge you for storage. So it's cumulative across your whole domain, but now you can go find out who's storing their entire movie library on their shared drive.
Right.
I know it's you, Steve. I know it's you.
Mm-hmm. I store some stuff there. I may or may not. The new storage admin role will be able to delegate access to the storage management tools to allow admins to view and manage that storage usage. That'll be rolling out over the next several days, and to be able to then create that either custom role or add that to an existing custom role that you may have. As mentioned, part of the feature is to be able to apply a storage limit policy to shared drives, and that'll kind of help further control the amount of storage that's going into your shared drives. So you may only want a reasonable amount of data. Let's say 500 gigs per shared drive might be reasonable in some orgs there. And yeah, that's that update. A lot of useful stuff there.
Yep.
Looking at that, I'm just looking at here the timing on this. So it looks like the only feature currently targeted for the rollout on this one is that admin role, where we get some dates on that. So that's rep release and schedule release domains. We'll be seeing that starting to roll out on the 18th of October on a gradual rollout up to 15 days for its ability. The other ones will be coming out in a later update and dates to be shared in the future. And so, I mean, this says it's available to all Workspace customers, but we know it's probably not, because I mean, you can't apply storage limits to shared drives. You don't have access to shared drives. So maybe they're only talking about the admin role functionality. Must just be that. So I guess that's what's coming out to everybody, and the shared drive IDs and storage limits, which of course are only available to those that have shared drives. There'll be a limited ability to have that, of course. It won't be everybody. So there's little differences there in those features in terms of who's getting it. All right, next. You can now hold separate conversations in Google Chat Spaces with inline threading. And you can already do that by making a space, threaded conversations. It worked great. It worked. It was better. That's why I liked it over Slack, because it was better. And now it's not going to be as good. But
it was better-ish. It was almost better.
It was a lot better.
Do you know how it would have been all the way better? If it was
how would it
both.
Have been all the way
if it
better?
Was both. If it was threaded rooms and threaded chat conversations, threaded messages. If you could do an inline reply. Now, this is where it gets complicated, folks. They're calling inline reply threaded messages, but it doesn't work in the rooms that have threaded messages.
Right.
What the hell, Google?
Right. Well, that's because it's already doing it in that certain way, and they shouldn't break it, because that's the way. It's the nicest. That's the better way. It behaves better that way.
Steve and I have a massive disagreement on this, folks. He believes, as you just heard, that it should stay the way that it is. But if I'm having a space, there are going to be multiple conversations in said space. And in those conversations, there are often individual comments that I want to reply to specifically that are breakaway topics. Just like you have breakaway rooms in Google Meet, these are breakaway topics in the chat room. And if I can have a conversation, then a side conversation on that, and then everybody come back to the main conversation and continue on other topics as well, that would be the best of all worlds. But no, instead they said you can only have one or the other, not both.
I guess that wouldn't be so bad.
Right? You're getting the wisdom of my ways.
Well, yeah, I mean, having both in there isn't so bad, but changing it to this new way altogether
this is dumb.
Bad.
I'm sorry. I don't get why you would have only... It must be a technical limitation. That can be the only explanation, I think, because they're saying that the only way that you can have inline replies, and we've had somebody who's been tweeting us like every couple of weeks on Twitter saying, hey, when's this going live? When's this going live? When's this going live? It's like, they keep saying it's going live. I don't know. And to their point, it was announced at Next last year. So now it's finally coming out. But the only way that they're allowing it to happen is in a room that does not have threaded conversations. Now, for those who are not as familiar with the vernacular here, threaded conversations is what they announced and rolled out over the last year. The unthreaded conversations is what you would normally expect in a straight messaging chat, similar to what you have one-on-one with somebody else. You don't have individual boxes that are compressible. Is that a word? Compression. Collapsible. That's what I was going for. Thank you. Collapsible. Wow, words. In the threaded rooms, in the threaded spaces, to use the updated terminology. Google loves changing names here. Yeah. In the non-threaded rooms. spaces. Damn it.
Spaces.
In the non-threaded spaces, it is just a straight conversation. That's the one where you can click on an individual chat and then have an inline conversation, which means you're responding to one single line in that conversation. In threaded spaces, you cannot have that. Threaded spaces is the one, as I was saying before, that has collapsible individual subjects, and we've taken to the practice of bolding the first sentence, the first line in that, and that sets the topic for that section, and that's the conversation there. Now, my argument is in that section of that there space is your conversation. I should also be able to have a side conversation through inline responses, but no, Google does not believe that should be the case and only allows you to do it on the unthreaded space. So I don't know what's really going on here, and if anybody on that team, on the chat team, wants to come on here and talk to us about it, we would love to have you. Please send us an email, info@tabgeeks.com, or go on the website, fill out the form, etc. We would love to hear more about this because we love this tool, but this doesn't make any sense. There's my spiel.
Yeah.
Told you I had words.
Yeah, you did. That is true.
This one is near. I love chat. I live inside of chat. Chat's better than email. It's never going to do away with email, but it's better than email, in my opinion.
Yeah.
At least internally, and for some vendors that I work closely with. All the people I'm working immediately with, it's better.
And speaking of, names and what Google refers to these as, that's changing as well as part of this update. If you didn't notice that. So threaded spaces, as they are previously have been known, are now going to be referred to as spaces organized by conversation topic.
Oh, that's so much better.
Yeah, I know, right? So much more poignant and just straight
to the
point. So, yeah.
Also, you can now have 8,000 people in a space instead of 400.
Oh, yeah. It's also good, too.
Yep. That's a good one. That's legitimately a good one.
Mm-hmm. Still not enough, though, to support the
currents.
Some of the currents groups. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like 17,000 people in some of those. So, yeah, especially that Google Workspace for Education admins group. That one.
Yep.
It's especially large and active. So gonna struggle to support that. It might just be two. One for the super admins and then one for the admins maybe.
There you go.
Split them in half. All right. Have a look at this update. There's a lot of images in terms of showing you how these will work, what this looks like, what that's going to kind of behave, and there'll be as this rolls out, starting with the rollout, newly created spaces will feature inline threading by default. Until early 2023, you can change this to spaces organized by conversation topic from the creation menu under advanced settings. And once the space is configured, as before, it cannot be changed. Beginning in early 2023, the option to create spaces organized by conversation topic will be removed, and inline threading will be the standard for all new spaces. And existing spaces will not be impacted, and there'll be some more updates when those changes begin to roll out.
My tech limitation theory is starting to make more sense now.
Yeah. Sorry. Contacts
are in your eye. Ooh.
Yeah, it's just the contacts sometimes. Get a little dry. It's late at night. Admins, no admin control for this one, and users, keep an eye on this when you go to create those spaces because you'll have some different options. Rollout for this is going to be starting on the 17th of October on a gradual rollout up to 15 days for visibility for both rapid release and scheduled release domains, and available to all Workspace customers as well as those with personal Google accounts. All right. Another one on the chat is around the chat topic features. This is a new one for chat here as well. Conversation summaries are rolling out to help you stay on top of messages in spaces. And this is something that I've been kind of had access to for quite a while. I talked about at I/O in May 2022. I talked about conversation summaries in Google Chat on the web. It actually started, of course, well before that through this interesting Chrome extension that you had to deploy out to your users in the beta. And this is now just, of course, all built in. So helps you catch up on those messages in the space that you missed while you were away or not reading. And this is going to be on by default. It can be disabled by navigating to the conversation summary and toggling that off if you need to. Rollout for this one, some differences here between rapid release and scheduled release domains. It will start to roll out on rapid release domains on the 19th of October on an extended rollout up to potentially longer than 15 days for visibility there. And scheduled release domains, we'll see this starting on the 2nd of November, also on an extended, potentially longer than a 15-day rollout.
I cannot wait to see how well this works.
Yeah?
This
it works well. You haven't seen it yet?
Risky move.
Yeah,
I have not played
cool.
around with it yet.
Yeah.
It should be interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely. It looks like it's it's gotten better from when I've seen it in the early days. At least from the image here, the animation is giving some pretty good feedback in terms of who's doing what and who's saying certain things. And
yeah, it looks great.
Some summaries there. Yeah.
I just can't wait to see, real world testing how it's going to react to certain things. Yeah. So
that's pretty good. Availability on this is going to be available to most orgs, not available to personal accounts, not available to Workspace, Business Starter, Education Fundamentals, or the legacy G Suite Basic and business customers, but available to everyone else. Well, that was a quicker way to mention those ones. And next, going back to kind of slides and collaboration here, you can now present slides directly in Google Meet.
Yeah, it's shown off in Next.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So just making it easier to present to your audience and initiate the screen sharing in Meet. So if you want to do this as an end user, select Present tab in Meet and choose your slide presentation, and then manage the presentation with controls in the bottom corner of that presentation. Pretty cool. More reason to use Meet and slides together. Rollout for this. What's that?
I'm a fan.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool. Nice. Rollout for this is going to be the same for rapid release and scheduled release domains. It's going to be an extended rollout, potentially longer than 15 days for visibility, starting on the 20th of October. And similar to before, it's available to most organizations, but not those on Workspace Essentials, Business Starter, Education Fundamentals Frontline, as well as the G Suite Basic and business customers, nor the personal Google accounts.
Starting to really feel like they've gotten Workspace, specifically this area of it, to the integration level that I wanted it to be at 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I remember being so frustrated at this exact use case, going,
yeah.
God, I wish I could just have it all in one window, present and that was on video even back then. But to be able to present and see everybody in front and whatnot, and I couldn't. And so now, working from home remotely, I've built out my setup over the years. Like now I can do that with many different windows and whatever, but on a single screen, this is just so much easier. So, plus also it makes it look like you're looking at the people. So, which is always better for presentations. Hence, they tell us to look at the camera lens directly and not at the the video feed when doing an actual presentation. So. It's hard.
It's tough on
I know
us.
somebody who put little tiny googly eyes on their camera lens.
It's tough for me because I have to look down and read from here. So I'm often not looking at the camera, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Next, though, in terms of updates, you can now easily find Workspace Marketplace apps with enhanced search filters, giving you some ability to search for how does this marketplace application work with certain apps within Google? So does it work with Drive? Does it work with Gmail? Does it work with Slides, Forms, etc.? So you can search and narrow it down that way, and that should help you find the apps or extensions, additional functionality you may need a little bit better, and also some free of charge or any price as well on that. Rollout for this one is going to be going out to rapid release and scheduled release domains on an extended rollout, potentially longer than 15 days, starting on the 20th of October. And oddly, not available to some with Workspace Essentials, Enterprise Essentials, and Frontline customers. I don't know why they wouldn't be able to search that way in the marketplace, but apparently not. And also, it will be available to those with personal Google accounts. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's some. Why would it not? It does not have access to the marketplace. Maybe, I don't know. It's weird.
Good question.
Yeah, it is a good question. But yeah, I would think it'd be available to everyone, but apparently not. So almost everybody. Next, the improvement of the Google Chat and Gmail search experience on web and mobile. Oh, hopefully it's actually better because the chat search, what's been problematic is that whenever you'd search for something that had been talked about a long time ago, and you click on that search result on your phone in chat, it doesn't take you to where that result is.
Right.
You're aimless. You're just somewhere in the chat history, and you got to figure out, oh yeah, I got to scroll back a little bit further probably to find out where that string is that showed up in my search results in my preview. And then it's just hard to find it. On the desktop, it was fine, a little bit better on the web, but mobile it just never worked well. So hopefully, as part of this update, they fixed that little bugginess and made it, get you to that search result better this time around.
Yeah.
I
had this problem today. I literally did a search for something that I have searched for before. I usually search through the Google Chat window. I knew exactly where it was and what to search for. And I went and I searched for it in my Gmail window, and it found Jack Squat. Now, when I went in the Google Chat PWA and I searched for it, there it was.
Yeah.
So hopefully this will improve that to make it more universal.
Oh, so you were even seeing something a little different. So you were just not seeing the search result
on there
in the web.
Yep.
In like the Gmail, when you said, "Oh, search Gmail, but just show me chat results."
Correct. Or Spaces. I checked all three.
Spaces.
Nothing showed up.
Yeah.
And then I went into the chat PWA, and there it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
So hopefully this fixes that.
Had not
When is this
noticed
coming
that.
out? I need it now.
Well, Jesse, let me tell you. It is going to be coming now. It says this feature is available now on Android devices.
That's
and
what
it
I
will
wanted
roll
to hear.
out to iOS devices. Will complete by the end of October.
And it is available now on the web. But it didn't work for me today, so maybe I need to reload my Gmail.
Yep.
I do that every once in a while. The whole restart your computer thing.
Well, that was the search suggestions, Gmail labels, features available now on Android and iOS, related results. This feature is now available on the web, and then other availability. That's just it's saying it's available to everyone. So, yeah, hopefully it gets better, those results.
Here's hoping.
Mm-hmm. I have a feeling it's still not going to work that well on clicking those at the hyperlink that basically takes you to the history of where it was said. I have a feeling it's not going to work as
the general vicinity.
Yeah.
General area.
And then last but not least, we have client-side encryption being expanded to Google Calendar. So this is still in beta. This is going to be extending out to another application, which will be Calendar. And it means that if you need to have this CSE enabled, you can apply it to calendar now too. And rollout for this, of course, from an admin perspective, you will have to enable this. There's some detailed steps to enable this and get it working. For users, there's also some things here that need to follow a few steps of how to enable this and start to use the encrypted calendar events, and click on the shield icon and then start to add in certain information to that event, which is then of course encrypted. It'll be available to Enterprise Plus, Education Plus, and Education Standard customers only, and not available to anyone else. Rollout for this one is, I don't know, did they mention rollout for this one? I don't think they did. Okay, yeah. So Enterprise Plus, Education Standard customers, you can apply for the beta, which is available in a link until the 11th of November. So that is how you can get in there. We will share the link to the form. If you haven't applied for it yet, you can get in on it and extend it into calendar and work with some client-side encrypted content. All right, Jesse, over to you.
All right. So first up is the Google Champion Innovators Program. That is a new program out of Google Cloud. I can read off the card here that they sent out. Actually, this card doesn't describe it very well. It's a little bit confusing because there's a couple of different levels here. I have been invited to join as a champion and was accepted into the program, of which I am very excited about. But essentially is recognizing for, I imagine, things like this and other contributions to the community. So got a whole box of swag and fun stuff. And Steve always shows off his swag, so now it's my turn. I get to show off some of the new things that we got here. The Google Cloud Innovators Program, official backpack and hat and all kinds of other fun stuff. Fitbit, which is pretty cool. Not sure what I'm supposed to do with that, given that I have an Apple Watch, but maybe I'll wear it when I work out and
you can give it to me, and I'll use it.
Don't you have one? I thought you had the new watch.
No,
I didn't get the Google Watch yet?
I will be. I'm going to get it. Yeah, I got to order it.
Yeah,
just a reminder to use my store credit.
Yeah. So pretty cool stuff there. Pretty proud to have gotten into that. And Steve, I'm sure your email is in the mail and coming soon.
I'll just ask him. Yeah.
Hey, doesn't hurt to ask. Absolutely. And now, what else was I going to say about that? In addition to that, we also have the event that we talked about earlier in the episode is a professional Google Workspace Administrator certification exam guide deep dive and Q&A. And this is going to be on, I believe it said November the 15th. Yep, November 15th at 8 a.m. Pacific. So if you're interested in everything that is required for that, you should definitely attend this event. We'll have the link in the show notes. This is over on the Google Cloud community, and they'll be doing a deep dive into the exam guide topics with Google Workspace experts. You will receive expert recommendations to best prepare for the exam, and you can do a live Q&A, get your questions answered. So there's a form to register for the event, and then they'll give you a calendar invite via email for the live recording, and if you can't make it on time or at all, they will send you a link to the recording as they usually do. In addition to that certification, drum roll please, there's a new one, which we talked about a little bit before, is the Chrome OS, Certified Chrome OS Administrator certification, which Steve was one of the first to get it. So congratulations, Steve, and others who accomplished that. Getting certifications is not always easy, so well done in that endeavor. Essentially, this is proving that you know how to be an administrator for everything Chrome OS, from the admin dashboard to the devices and back again. They have over 600 policies in the admin console to help customize environments, etc., etc. And Steve, tell us, do you have to know every single one of the 600 policies in order to pass this?
400 of the 600, yeah.
400 of the 600? Ouch. Yeah. So get studying, everyone. I gotta take mine as well.
No,
and
not that
get that under my
not
belt.
That
No? Oh, okay. Whew.
Not that bad.
I was getting worried there. But yeah, this one should be good, especially as Chrome OS is an extremely exciting space, as you can tell from the way I talk about it and from my next update as well with the new Dragonfly. And this is going to be definitely an in-demand skill for organizations that are using Google Workspace as they continue to expand and adopt and realize that this is the way that Chrome OS is really a fantastic option for deploying, easy to use, stable, etc., yada yada. We will have in the next probably week or two some representatives from Google from this program to help talk about what is involved in the Chrome OS certification exam beyond Steve's experience. And if you have any questions about that, feel free to send them over to us either via email or on Twitter, or go to our website and fill out the form. And we'll make sure to include those in the show notes for that event so that we can get them asked on the air. It won't be a live show. It'll be a recorded one just like these, but maybe we should do it live. I don't know. I'll have to talk to them about it, see if we can schedule it in. Next up on the reviews here, you have heard me talk about my Chrome OS Olympics video that I'm working on, reviewing all the sub $1,000 Chromebooks. This beautiful piece of machinery does not technically qualify, but I'm going to include it because it should be considered the new gold standard for the Chromebooks that are out there. It is sleek, it is sexy, it is well designed, it looks like an executive computer, it costs as much as an executive computer. This is the new HP Dragonfly, I think there's an Elite at the end of that name, Chromebook, instant on. You can see on the video that I'm doing here, it's got the fingerprint sensor, and it logs in right away, and it's just a beautiful screen, great trackpad, the best typing experience I've seen on a Chromebook, or really on any laptop that's not a MacBook Pro. And the trackpad feels like the MacBook Pro trackpad. Everything about this is really fantastic. That is obviously my first initial impressions. I've only had it for about 2 hours now, so I'll be using it pretty much regularly for the next week or two. I am going to go away, so I definitely will be bringing it with me on the plane there. And usually my MacBook Pro and my whatever Chrome OS device I'm using at the time, switch off for whatever I need. Depending if I'm doing any editing or recording, I'll go for the MacBook, but pretty much any other work or browsing applications I need, I always go for the Chromebook first, just because it's lighter and easier and just more of a general, fun device to use. It's lighter, thinner, better. I love my MacBook Pro. Honestly, the screen is phenomenal, but and huge and great to use, but it is a little bit of a heavy device, and it does get a little bit warmer than the Chromebooks do. So generally, if I'm just doing browsing and some general responding to emails and work and not actual production level things, I do like to stick to Chromebooks, especially when I am traveling. So that's the details on that. If you're interested in more, I will be putting out a video reviewing just this device, as well as another video of the full Olympics review in the next week or two, so stay tuned for those. Now, some sad news for fans of Threadit. Threadit, if you're not familiar, is an Area 120 program that was a very interesting approach to recording your screen to share a workflow or a training with some other folks on your team or throughout your company, or even externally as well, where their twist on it was that not only are you going to record a video of your thoughts or showing how you did it, the people you send it to would be able to reply via video as well. And personally, I never really used that function. That really didn't do it for me, but it was a great extension to Chrome, lightweight, easy to use for just if you wanted to throw a quick solution into a ticket on the help desk. Sure, put it in a Threadit, goes on your account, it's automatically synced, and it worked wonderfully. Unfortunately, that team, as part of the Area 120, I guess you could say shut down, or downsizing rather, they're cutting it in half, the entirety of Area 120. They're focusing more on AI stuff, so that is going to be shutting down. The good news is the video messaging team will be joining Workspace, so every bit of extra talent that we can put on the video team over on Google Meet and their other projects is definitely going to always be appreciated and always going to help continue improving the project. So Google likes to move their engineers around quite frequently, and sometimes you get a little thin in terms of the talent department, so happy to be padding the extra team there, and hopefully we'll get some more wonderful features coming on the video side, the video collaboration experiences across the platform, as they have put in their email to admins. So you probably saw this email. If you aren't familiar with Reddit, don't worry about it. If you are familiar with Reddit, it'll be continue to be available for the next 60 days, which was from, I don't know, sometime this week or so. So about 2 months from now. After that, all Threaded content will be deleted starting on December 19, 2022. If you want to keep your Threaded content, you can export it until December 19th. The easiest way to save individual videos is to download individuals directly from your threaded.app homepage. If you want to download all of the videos you've ever created on Threaded, you can go into the app, click on your profile image, select account, and then export the videos directly from there. So nice that you've got a couple of options there. And hopefully, you know, it's nice to see that their team is relocating and staying inside of Google as everybody gets kind of cut and moved around in the Area 120 group. So hopefully we'll see some good things from them. Next, for the Gmail fans over on the iOS side of things, they're getting, or we're getting, because I'm one of those users, a Gmail redesign for the settings menu specifically. I've already seen it roll out. I think they're continuing to tweak it, and more things are rolling out to it, but it is much more similar to the regular iOS settings menu that you would see in other apps. In fact, it even feels like a nice little mix between Googliness and iOS menu settings. So it's not totally just going to the dark side on the iOS side of things, but it does have all of the things that you would need in a well-known familiar interface for anybody who's used to navigating settings on iOS. What they do is they started by getting rid of the general and accounts distinctions. So now the preference list starts by immediately breaking out options for chat and meet with the ability to quickly disable those tabs if you want to. And then you've got a whole bunch of colorful icons throughout to make everything stand out more, high contrast options as well. So if you haven't checked out the settings menu in Gmail on iOS, make sure your app is updated and then go and take a look. And then I got one last one here, which Steve and I were talking about a little bit before the show, is the Engadget article here. Google is reportedly shifting its focus to hardware at assistant's expense. Now, this is very sad if this is, in fact, the case, because Google is in the lead, in my opinion, on Google Assistant, but they're not going to stay there for long if they don't keep innovating, and they're certainly not going to be able to keep innovating if they stop focusing on it. So the information here, the publication, the information, claims that CEO Sundar Pichai sees hardware as the best way to be quote-unquote protected against the pitfalls of a changing mobile market. And according to Google Assistant VP, I can't pronounce this name, Sissy Xiao? Pichai is concerned that Apple is taking share from Android partners like Samsung, and that antitrust regulators might nix Google's long-standing deal to make its search engine the default on iPhones. And yeah, honestly, between whether you're Apple or you're Google or you're Amazon, or even Samsung, I guess, antitrust is on the table, and it's a fine line that they're walking. So it makes sense that there would be a lot of talk about this internally. Whether there's any real actual happenings around this or trend taking engineers away from Assistant and specifically moving them to hardware, I don't know. I don't think we will know until several years from now when one of the people in this project writes a book about it, of which I will most definitely buy because those are my favorite kinds of books. But, you know, it's like I said, it was in the last update, Google likes to move around engineers. So it's entirely possible that it's a yes and situation. Yes, they are trying to shore up their hardware team, at least on the consumer side, because we all know, as we said in several episodes back, and Steve reminded me at the beginning of the episode here, they killed the Pixelbook team. So there goes one hardware element that they're no longer investing in. So, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, I suppose. And I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens on that. Steve, did you have anything that you wanted to add to that?
No.
No, that's
it.
That's it.
Gave you my view on that before we started, which you added in there. So.
Yeah, well, figured. Definitely wanted to make sure that got added in and covered. There's a book that I just bought, which I'm trying to remember the name of. I tweeted it out on my Twitter account the other day. It's called Sideways, The City That Google Couldn't Buy. Speaking of books that are written about things that happen at Google, if you want a behind the scenes, several years back, Google tried to basically buy and build out the world's first proper smart city built from the ground up. It was done through a subsidiary called Sidewalk Labs in Toronto. And this is a book by Josh O'Kane that goes into the whole story behind that. And I just finished reading Like, Comment, Subscribe, which is another book about the beginnings of YouTube and when Google bought the company and actually almost shut it down, if you can believe it, at one point in time, just because, quite frankly, it almost wasn't worth it between all of the copyright violations and problems that they had on the platform, hosting and moderating and so on. So I love books like this. So I'm glad. So I am so glad that they are coming out with these types of topics. So bring it on. Anyone else who's coming out with a book, let me know. Happy to have you on the show, talk about it. So Sideways, the city that Google couldn't buy, just came out on September 13th in 2022, and Like, Comment, Subscribe also just came out, I think, a couple of weeks ago. So if you're interested in reading about the behind the scenes of Google projects, one that was wildly successful and one that was very much not, definitely pick up both of those books and enjoy. So that's all for this week. We've been recording for an hour and 20 minutes here. So send us your questions and comments on Twitter at Workspace Recap and our website, workspacerecap.com. Hit the subscribe button, which I heard today YouTube announced a whole bunch of updates, is now becoming easier to see and easier to click, and now you can click the notification bell as well. So go ahead and do that if you're on the YouTube side, and give us a thumbs up and drop your questions and whatnot in the comments. And we love hearing from you. So yeah, have a great week, and we'll see you next time on Workspace Recap. Kind of lost my flow at the end there. I don't know. Whatever. Good night.